So people tend to ask me quite a lot how I got back to normal. Um, the answer really is that you don't. You develop a new normal. Your body has been through a significant traumatic event, and your body needs time to recover. Your brain needs time to recover, and a lot of times you'll be taking medication which you've never taken before. That medication can be quite aggressive. It certainly was in my case, in terms of the dosages of beta blocker and that kind of thing. So it takes some time to develop a new normal. Normal before the event and normal after the event are generally at least a little bit different, if not significantly different. And that's in terms of physical things, but also in terms of emotional. Do I mean emotion? Yeah, in terms of emotional things. Sometimes you have a different outlook. I certainly have a different outlook on life. I'm not scared of dying, but I do understand that it could happen again tomorrow. So I may be a little bit less risk averse now. I tend to not put too much emphasis on physical things, on financial things, but I tend to try and enjoy my life as much as I can. And in terms of advice for other people, I think the biggest piece of advice that I can give right now is don't try and go through this journey alone, because it's a lot easier to do with other people around you who actually have been through the same journey. Try to find Sudden Cardiac Arrest UK if you haven't found it already. I don't know why you'd be watching this video, but try and find Sudden Cardiac Arrest UK. Try and talk to as many people as you can. Try and have as many meetings with people as you can, because it really is emotionally, it's a huge support. There are physical things you can do. I think I mentioned, like making the little box for the tablets, making sure that when you travel, you've got the necessary insurances, that sort of thing. Make sure you got travel insurance, because I had a flight that was landed due to an emergency which was caused by me, and that was something around the order of 50,000 euros was the actual cost of that, which was covered by my insurance. If I didn't have that insurance, I don't know where we'd be. So I would say, yeah, the most important thing, don't try and go through it alone.
It took quite a while to sort of like get back to my normal. I'm not the same person now as what I was pre-arrest. I've grown and I've changed, and I found a new me, the old me, but a new version of it. After about sort of 3 or 4 months of my recovery, my mum bought me a tub with some tulip bulbs in. And she said, I want you to plant these. And she said, and when they bloom, she said, I want you to think back of how you're feeling when you planted them to how you feel now. And when they bloomed, I looked back and I realised how far I had come. And I have told loads of people about this, and it's worked for them. And each year now, those tulips come back, they're in my garden, and I just marvel at the journey and I've been on, and how much I've changed and grown and become a new version of me, which I actually like better. It took time. I was kind to myself. I made sure I rested when I needed to, physically and mentally. It took time. It will take time if you're newer on your journey. But now I feel quite at ease. I feel quite relaxed with my life. And like I said, I've reached a new version of me, and I'm quite happy living alongside the old me and the new me. In a way, even though what happened to me was absolutely horrendous and just so horrific and traumatic, in a way, I'm almost glad it happened, because otherwise I'd have just been stuck being the same old me. And she was quite boring. And I like this version better. So keep going.
I don't think you ever get back to a normality that you would call normality that you had before the cardiac arrest. I don't think you ever get back to that. But I think you get to a place where you're comfortable after a cardiac arrest. And I think the biggest thing for that is you've got to give yourself time. You've got to have patience. It's not a quick recovery. You're not going to be recovered in 6 months. It's going to take potentially years. I mean, I'm 4 years in, and I'd probably say I'm still recovering. And I genuinely don't believe I will ever not say that I am. I think I'll always be recovering. And it's just having that time and learning your body as well. Like we were saying earlier with the fatigue and stuff like that. Like if you listen to your body and you take into account how it's feeling and what it's doing, and maybe something doesn't feel right, then slow down, have a little patience. You know what I mean? I think that was the biggest thing for me, just learning to have patience. And over time, you develop these strategies for learning to cope with things. Like, I know some people use a notepad. I don't personally use a notepad to remember stuff. I use my phone to remember stuff. I've got an Alexa that does a load of timings and stuff for me, so I never burn any food or anything like that. You know what I mean? But it's just patience and slowly pushing yourself. Like, okay, I walked this far today. Tomorrow I'm going to walk a bit further, and the next day I'm going to walk a bit further. And it's just slowly inching that boundary of where you are. And I think that's the best way to recover from a cardiac. I don't think there's any other way to do it easily. And yeah, that's probably the best way.
I would say for the first year after my cardiac arrest, I was a completely different person. I was very spontaneous. I used to waste a lot of money, which I'd never done previously. So if I wanted to do something, I used to say we had to do it that split second, because I felt my life had been so cheated and taken away from me that I didn't know if I could have that tomorrow. I now know that nearly 5 years on, that there is a tomorrow and that there is a life after cardiac arrest, and that I'm not going to drop down dead again tomorrow. My biggest advice to any survivor is to take each day at a time, that you will learn to live with the new person that is you, that life does get easier, that your emotions will get stronger as time goes on. Of course, I still think about it every single day of my life. However, I don't feel that well of emotion that I felt in the early days. I don't feel that cheated as to why it happened to me. I now feel that I've been given a second chance at life. Have I changed as a person? Yes, I have. I do not take anything for granted. I feel very, very blessed each day that I wake up, that I've got time to spend with my family. Things that used to stress me before my cardiac arrest really, really don't stress me now at all. If anything, I feel a much, much stronger person. I feel a calmer person. I cherish friendships and relationships much, much more than I did before. And I feel this has actually really been built on over the last 5 years. I've managed to be involved with the most incredible survivorship group in Sudden Cardiac Arrest UK. And to be fair, this has been a complete and utter lifeline for me.
We're all different. We're all different before we get ill, before we have our cardiac arrests. We're just people. So there is no normality. It's just how we see ourselves in the world, I think. I would say the best advice I could give to anyone who has any kind of experience like this is to not push yourself too hard. Give yourself time. It's not just the physical effects. A lot of us have lasting physical effects. The one I've had is that my lower legs, below my knees, I trip up. I've had some quite serious falls where my brain just does not send the messages fast enough to lift my feet. I've learned to slow down. I've learned to be a bit more careful when I'm walking. We all have different types of legacy problems, or many of us do. So just take your time. Give yourself the time. Do not push yourself as hard as perhaps you did. Strategies, you learn, you work around, you learn every day, faced with different situations. You deal with it as you deal with it. You are yourself. In terms of 2.5 years down the line, I'm a lot better than I was. And I'm quite happy in myself. I'm quite happy with myself. Certainly the counselling brought me nearer, more back to normality. That was a great investment of a few hours. And I feel pretty normal, pretty level, happy to be here, enjoying life more.